Well, I thought you'd probably...
Oh no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Right, okay. And Scottish storyteller, MEG.
I heard this today. An old pensioner sitting at the seaside in Scotland. It's a sunny day, it's beautiful. Looking over the water, pretty quiet, there's not a lot of kids around. He's just watching the waves and suddenly he sees this figure emerge from the sea. And as it gets closer, it becomes apparent that it is a beautiful, voluptuous woman in a very tight diving suit, wetsuit. And she comes straight towards him, and he looks. She sits down beside him and smiles. Lovely day, she says. He said, oh, yes it is. Would you like a cigarette? And the old fellow says, oh, yeah, that would be nice. And she unzips her wetsuit and brings out a lighter with a cigarette from him, and he takes it. Oh, that's very nice, thanks very much. He enjoys it. And they chat a little bit. And the cigarette's finished, and she says to him, would you like a half? Whiskey? He said. Yes, she said. He said, that would be very nice. So he sits down this side. She pulls out a wee hip flask. She pours some at the cabin. She gives it to him. He drinks it up. Oh, it's malt whiskey. Oh, it's good. And then she says to him, would you like to play around? He said, don't tell me you've got golf clubs in there. I thought that was really good. Anyway, we don't often feel like really at lunchtime, but there you go. The story I'm going to tell you I've told before. Because of the harps, I'll have to tell a Welsh story. And this is in a collection of British folk tales by Alan Garner. And it goes something like this. He was a shy boy, brought up strict chapel, you know. Mother monosyllabic, you know. Only child, so she'd say to him, hungry? And he'd say yes. Oh, good, she'd say. And she'd go off to the kitchen, come back with something and put it down and eat, she'd say to him. So he was very mollycoddled, really. And the father, he would sit at the other end of the table reading the paper, saying not much at all, although he made up for it on a Saturday night after a few drinks at the local pub. And he sung like Laldi in the choir in the chapel on the Sunday morning to make up for it. So Hugh was getting on. He'd left school and there had been a bit of a debate which shop in the village he would help with. Could have been Di the butcher's, but he felt there was too much fleshy stuff going on there. And Di the baker's, well, he was a tidy boy. His mother had made sure of that, and getting all floury was not part of the deal. So he ended up working in Di the draper's. And all the girls loved to come in. Oh, Hugh, they'd say, there's a lovely red flannel up there at the top shelf. Could you get that for us? And so he'd get the ladder on, and Jessie and her friend Mabel would lean over the counter and watch him climb up the ladder. He got fed up with that soon enough. He was so red by the time he came down, it was redder than the flannel itself. Girls he had trouble with, he just didn't know what to do with them. You see, his passion was quiet. He was a fisherman. There was nothing he liked better than to go off fishing by himself up the river. And that was how he liked to spend his Saturday nights. On one particular Saturday night, he teed up with his uncle that the coracle, that wee round fishing boat that they use in the country areas of Wales, would be stashed behind a certain oak tree. And his mam had said, well, sandwiches? He said, yes. Flask? Yes. He had one in each pocket. He had his cap on, he had his fishing rod, he had his basket, he had his knocker, he had something to kill the fish with, because he was determined. There was a salmon in that river that he had been after for many a month. And now that it was a full moon, he had a feeling that this was the time. He waited well on into the night, the pubs were still going, but he walked right past them, over the bridge, and the moon shining down on the river as it flowed through, and up the side of the river, and on he went till he got to the place where the oak tree was, and in the shadows there was the coracle with the paddle. He gets it out, gets himself all organised, and it's a miracle really that he didn't fall in. So there he gets it planted in the water, and he steps and jumps almost and gets himself in, and the coracle's off. He has to paddle, there's quite a current, but he wants to get midstream. And as he gets in there and everything's quiet, it's that magical time when all is silver all around you, and there's just the quiet rustling of the leaves and the trees, a little bit of a breeze, and here's the coracle dancing and spinning in the river, round and round. He felt he was dancing. Not like the dance hall down in the village, but dancing the way he wanted to dance. And as the coracle spun, he managed to get out his reel, and he cast a fly. He'd had years of practice. He'd been fishing since he was a little boy. And out went the singing wire, right out there into the deepest part, there where the curve was, and there was a good trench. He waited and waited, but not too long, for suddenly there was a great tug on the line. "Oh, you beauty," he said. And sitting there, he started to reel it in and reel it in. And as he saw it break the surface, he saw it was, by the mouth of it, a salmon. Oh, he could hardly contain himself. He had to stay rooted there on the plank to not upset the coracle. And he managed to get the net that he had with him, and he scooped it into the coracle, and it thrashed and scratched along the bottom of the coracle. And as he looked at the sparkling fish in the moonlight, it seemed to lean up against his leg, and suddenly it spoke to him. "Be my cariad." Cariad? He clutched himself. Cariad means darling. It was not the sort of word he was used to. "No," he said. "No, I will not. I'm for knocking you on the head." And he went to get the knocker. Well, as soon as he did that, that big fish flipped and flopped so hard that the coracle upped and over, and down he went into the water. He could feel himself sinking. The heavy jacket and the boots were not helping. Down he went into the water, and next thing he felt a cut on his collar, and he was being dragged up to the surface. And when he broke the surface and spluttered and coughed and cleared his eyes, he saw facing him a woman with wet hair, and she said to him, "Be my cariad." "No," he said. No, I don't know you at all. I will not be your cariad." "Oh well then," she said, "down you go." And down she dragged him, down to where the water weeds were waving in the current. Oh, it was awful. But once again he felt himself grabbed by the scruff and brought to the surface. This time, when he looked into the eyes of the girl, she had a glint in them that he was not keen on. "Be my cariad," she said. No, he gasped. Well, it was this time. Down you go. And when he went down the third time, he thought, "Oh my goodness, may as well marry as be going up and down in this river all night." So when he broke the surface and she said, "Well?" he said, "Oh, all right." She said, "Good lad." And she dragged him and helped him over to the bank. The coracle had gone way down the river, and by the time he got up and stood and looked and turned, she was standing there, naked, with just long hair, dripping. And then he saw that the hook was there in her lip. "Oh my," he said, your lip. Oh, because of course the line was still attached to the rod that was in the coracle and was reeling out. Oh, he tried, "Stay still, I'll get it out," but he couldn't. He said, I'll have to cut you." He had his wee sharp knife, like every good man, and he got it out, and he just did a quick cut on her lip and set her free. And as soon as he did that, she grabbed him and kissed him full on the mouth. There, she said, now that you have my blood on you, you will love me forever and ever. It's strange to say, he did. They walked home. The mother was too shocked to speak. She stayed, they married. They had a whole slew of children. I met one of the boys not so very long ago. And you know, all of those children had big freckles over their faces, just like the speckles on the side of a salmon. And each one of them had a little cut there on the side of the lip, just like their mother. True as I'm sitting here.